You doing, Mark?
We are live on Twitter.
Oh, RFK doing stuff. All right, we're live on Twitter and
YouTube.
My name is Cedric Youngelman. This is
Paul Tarantino.
Welcome to Bitcoin Center. Francis, maybe you could throw up the first topic.
Trump media raising $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin. Good for them.
Good for them. Well, how do you think like Wall Street or the government takes to like the Trump company buying Bitcoin,
right?
and then talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve?
I don't know. It's all very interesting how much Trump is involved in crypto and promoting it at the administrative level, So I don't know. It's a little Nancy Pelosi-ish.
Well, I mean, that makes me think the government's not going to buy Bitcoin?
Oh, really? No,
yeah,
that's
really
coming.
makes me think.
No, that's coming.
That it's going to be really hard for the public.
Well, what's his name? Bo. What's his name?
Bo Hines.
Bo Hines says like that's imminent announcement
that they're buying Bitcoin.
That they're going to come up with
a budget neutral way.
We've got hundreds of ways to buy Bitcoin.
That doesn't mean they do.
It's true.
Like I just
okay. But he was out in public saying we have hundreds of ways to buy Bitcoin. We're going to make an eminent announcement that he said Bitcoin will be very happy with, something like that.
And I mean, do you think they're going to buy Bitcoin in the year 2025?
Oh yeah, I
really,
yeah, totally.
Wow.
I'm surprised you don't.
Yeah, no, I don't. This makes me feel like they're not. Like I think this is like
really. I think that's what I'm saying about it being like Nancy Pelosi.
Sure,
he's front running the Treasury,
right? But I think this would
the
scare a lot of
wealth
people
or
away.
whoever's going to buy it.
A lot of politicians, even maybe. It makes me see it as a little bit of a.
We could just start tracking Trump's trades if he buys before.
I wonder how involved. How involved do you think actually the president, Donald Trump, is involved in any of this? I mean, it's not. He's not running the company. It's his kids.
No, yeah.
I mean,
it's hard not to talk to your kids.
Sure, like yeah, I guess they're like, we're gonna raise money to buy Bitcoin.
Like at least with Trump, he just tells you like, hey, I just bought it. It's not like hidden. It's not some.
Sure, I guess. I think there's other things probably going to be in here, like in their buys. I don't know if they'll be 100% Bitcoin. That's gonna be interesting.
I don't think they are 100%. I mean, I think they just did some other big stablecoin investment.
How do you invest in stablecoins?
No, I mean they started a stablecoin company and then they used their stablecoin to fund some sort of investment in Dubai. I thought it was. I just read recently.
Okay, got it.
That was about all the details I have.
Sure, right. And I guess the goal there is to be sort of like a growing or mini Tether, and to grow that stablecoin business into like what Tether.
How did they? I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be wild. That things are moving quick, I guess, if things happen this year.
Yeah.
Maybe the next topic.
Yeah, let's go to the next.
Sailor buys another 110 million in Bitcoin.
Ooh, damn.
That's
110 million, and we're at 110,000 right now.
Right. And again, I mean, maybe he bought the top again.
Good. Keep buying the top.
Do you think a sailor buy will ever kind of move the market, like in a way you would think an announcement and a buy would?
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think they're buying it that way. I don't think they're fat fingering it.
This is interesting.
Maybe this is why he doesn't want to disclose his public address, because maybe they're just. I mean, actually, if you think about it, when he first started talking about his first Bitcoin buys on podcast, he was talking about VWAP and he was talking about, buying in chunks, algorithmically.
Yeah.
And so why would he not still be doing that today?
Right. I agree.
And then just announcing, hey, I bought it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. I don't know if he's buying with the time-weighted average pricing anymore. I have no idea. What I think is interesting is they're closing Q2 in June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they'll be able to report using the new FASB rules, which will have, if Bitcoin closes, I think, above 105,000, they're going to push through a lot of unrealized gains. And it'll be interesting to see how the market responds.
You're the accountant. So do they can they hold some of that back? They have to just
all of it unrealized, yeah.
So every time Bitcoin goes
Into net
up
income.
or down in every quarter, they're gonna boom. It's either we lost money or we made money.
Yes, I believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the market responds to volatile earnings.
Sure, that right, and that one-time push through
right.
For this quarter, and then if they treat it as an ongoing, sustainable earnings projection or not, and how they respond. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Maybe next topic.
Uber CEO exploring accepting Bitcoin payments. Okay.
Yeah, he said it was like a legitimate.
You know how many Uber drivers have been orange
Right,
pilled by
right.
Bitcoiners at Bitcoin conferences?
That's interesting.
That's,
But
I
the
mean,
Uber driver probably would not get any Bitcoin.
that's a good point.
And I think also
a
what's
good
really
point.
important here is
It's proof of marketing right here.
yeah, I think similar, and I'm not. Stake Shack seems interesting what they're doing, but from what I heard, they're not stacking sats. So
Really?
yeah, no, they're
That's
converting that
unfortunate.
to fiat.
Uh-huh.
So what they're really doing is marketing to a segment who probably responded to not having their fries and tallow.
Yeah, which
And
the
so they saw that.
and then they had the big not a scandal, but everyone was disclosing how the tallow they were using had all these preservatives.
Sure,
in
right.
it.
And it was right, and there was issues with the process around the tallow.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's like a genuine necessarily like accepting Bitcoin payments. And also, like most people don't want to spend in Bitcoin,
You know what, though,
especially with capital gains and everything.
I think it's more of like a technology thing too, because
Mm.
the company went and took
Played
the
Federal.
dev team, and bought with
to
paid
Steak
with
and
Lightning
Shake.
and Steak and Shake, right?
Okay.
Took a bunch of us out to lunch. So I've never eaten there before.
Okay,
Right?
I have,
So
yeah,
but
it's
it's
good.
like, all
For fast
types. There
food.
was like 4 people working there in the whole restaurant.
Sure.
Everything was tech and automated.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, there was like no labor.
Right.
So
right.
they are very tech forward. So maybe that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, and then Uber is software company essentially, so
Yeah.
it fits in with the tech, I guess. There, yeah, I think here this
is because they deliver so much Steak and Shake now.
I think this is just signal to the administration to
We're on board
treat
with you.
Bitcoin like the dollar and
Right,
not tax it when you spend it.
Well,
Because none of this really works until that happens.
If that's the conversation behind scenes, that's great.
Sure. Well, that's
if the conversation, like, we have no idea, but Murray, what are you doing, buddy?
I thought, okay, the most interesting thing at Bitcoin 2025, I thought, was I got to see Donald Trump Jr. speak. He was interviewed, I think, by Chris Pavlovsky, if I remember correctly. But the conversation really was a lot about how the Trump family was debanked.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that part of the story.
Okay.
And that they kind of talked about, we were always hard asset guys, real estate guys. We understood finance. We never had problem though with the banks and financing. We were always able to call our guys up and be like, we want money.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they weren't even talking about rates. They were like,
we talked about that on the last show, because that is interesting to me from the perspective of, here's the Trump family on TV talking about being debanked, talking about how the big banks screwed them, and now they're sitting there in direct communication with the Federal Reserve saying, like, could you lower the rates, please? We need to refinance $9 trillion. And the Federal Reserve's like, not anytime soon. So it's like that battle's still ongoing between the Trump family and the big banks. I don't know.
Right, but the Trump family is trying to
if
be
you're
a bank.
saying if these conversations are happening behind the scene of, like, start treating Bitcoin like the dollar, start processing payments in Lightning, let's go, let's get on this standard. If they're really committed to that, that's a threat.
So
to the
I
central
don't
bank.
think it's how do we treat Bitcoin like the dollar. I think it's more like how do we become a bank so we
how do we use Bitcoin to
be a
remove
bank
the dollar from the
and a
Fed?
stable coin. No, I think it's just how do we
I'm just
become a
really
bank
interested in this unknown conflict that may or may not exist between Trump family and the Federal Reserve.
It did seem genuine when I was listening to him talk about it.
Yeah,
I was very surprised. U.S. Treasury buying 10 billion of government bonds. Whoa. Okay.
I didn't know that happened.
All I know is you told me that 5 trillion of debt needs to be rolled over by July 9th, I think you said.
Yeah.
Of treasuries.
About 5 trillion.
So this
by
doesn't
July
sound
9th.
like a lot of money compared to that, but this
No,
seems
but
like
it's
big
the
signal.
Treasury buying it, so it's Treasury QE.
Okay, but is this at scale that is meaningful? 10
Maybe.
billion, maybe, yeah.
Maybe down the road. Maybe this is the first.
This also sounds like what
I mean, I'd
Japan
like
does.
to. I want to go research this and read about it. That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, this seems significant. I
But
think we'll have
you
to-
know, Luke Groman has been talking about some FX trade that Becent is doing, or potentially could do with gold, to basically engineer quantitative easing at the Treasury level with
because they
gold.
can't work with the Fed.
Right, and then that coincides with this. Like, is there headbutting going on between the Trump administration and the Fed? And if it's not working out, what options does the Treasury have in refinancing this debt? Like, I know it's really interesting, man.
Yeah,
I think there's some major fireworks that we're going to see this summer.
maybe that's why Bitcoin's perking up a little bit right now. Maybe we can do the lightning round.
Metaplanet, good for you guys.
Wow. You know,
Good
they
for
went
you
from the
guys.
little tiny engine that could, or you know, there. I mean, that's really a huge number.
Well, do you know what their last buy was?
No, I don't
Because
recall.
I think Dylan was saying they want to double their Bitcoin holdings like every 90 days, right?
Okay, sure.
So I'm just wondering. I mean,
I'm not sure where they're at. I know they just raised, I think, a lot of money. I thought to buy more. Now they're issuing this plan. It sounds like we were talking about this
they're
before the
exciting,
show.
dude. They're
It's
an
very
exciting.
exciting.
I mean, I think.
But-
I don't get a big head, Dylan, but I think you're doing a better job than Sailor. But you know,
I think
keep
he's
it
doing a
up.
fantastic job with the proof of reserves, the way
Yeah.
they're managing sort of the ATM
awesome.
issuance. We were talking about this a little bit before the show. I think we're going to see this major expansion in Bitcoin treasury companies, which are turning into Bitcoin acquisition companies, and then I think we'll see some sort of consolidation.
Something.
I mean, why wouldn't MicroStrategy buy Metaplanet now at a certain MNAV to MNAV?
Yeah, I think
You
that's.
know.
I think
That's a fast way to-
consolidation M&A between Bitcoin treasury companies is probably going to be something in our future. I don't think it happens like soon.
Because it's a different way to finance, I think.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, when we have like a couple, maybe 4,000 global companies doing it, that could be something completely different, right? When you've got some companies doing it better than others, and the good ones are taking advantage of the ones that are not trading at a premium to NAV.
Right. And it seems like this is a regional thing. I mean, we have Adam Back is doing alt BG in Europe. There's now one called K-Wave. It's in Korea. I mean, this thing I think is up like 50% today or something like that.
I think we, full disclosure, Byte Federal became a member of Bitcoin for Corporations. Should be announced tomorrow morning. So maybe should be blowing the whistle on that. But it's going to be a long list of companies that are getting involved because it's such a great club to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be where it's going. I'm a little concerned about the central. Well, I'm just concerned. I don't know where it's going. Just and that's okay, But like, how do these companies, continue to differentiate themselves? Where does consolidation go? And what is the final plan when they have enough Bitcoin? What is sort of like that Valhalla moment where like
have enough Bitcoin?
Well, there's only 21 million. So we're going to get to a place
where
are we going to have a situation where corporate companies start reporting more Bitcoin that adds up than 21 million? Right. So,
okay.
So
okay.
Right. I mean, like at some point, like someone's got to be like, I have 2 million and you only can get to 300,000. I mean, like,
somebody's going to do the audit and count them all up and be like, by the way, there's 36 million Bitcoin being held by corporations.
Not including retail. And, we're far from that maybe now, but my point is at some point, like you've gotten to a place where no one can catch you and what do you do then? Do you loan it out?
I think it becomes, how did these corporations start to separate themselves from the others, right? So, I mean, Michael Saylor's got this head start and he's running down with all these different preferreds and converts. And then you've got Metaplanet differentiate themselves by the way they're buying and how aggressively they're buying. Bipedal is going to differentiate themselves because we have a profitable, growing company,
Right. I think that's huge.
right? And we're
right.
buying Bitcoin out of our cash flow,
Right.
and then we'll see where things go. So
Right.
it's everybody's going to have a different story, and everyone's going to. But it's an interesting club to be in and hearing everybody's stories, right? And finding and learning from each other and seeing where this all goes down the road.
Right. I mean, I'm like not so much as none of this is financial advice, but not so much like where the stock's going to go. But I'm really interested in like how GameStop is going to interact with Bitcoin. Are they just going to use it and have it as something collateral on the balance sheet and hope it grows in purchasing power? And again, I'm not saying how they can acquire more, but are they going to integrate it into their operating business in some
hopefully
way?
they're working on that, because
that would be cool.
To just say, hey, we bought some, isn't enough.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, good for you, but it's not enough to move the needle. I think, and they have a amazing opportunity to just bury some shorts.
Yeah, that'd be
right. Like, why would you not do that?
No, I agree.
Maybe they're making a plan.
Well, hopefully we'll see. Maybe the next topic, friends. On block. All right, smash. I don't know if it's smashed.
Yeah, smashing is probably not the right word.
Kind of crept up. I mean, it's kind of gone 5% maybe in the last 5-6 days, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we were
at 108 yesterday, roughly.
Well, Josh Mandel predicted 114 by Friday.
No, that makes sense.
I predicted 150K by July 4th, but that was a while ago. I have no idea.
When did Josh predict 114 by Friday?
Like a week ago.
Okay.
It wasn't,
I'm not impressed anymore.
No, I mean, but
he's not making 4-month-long predictions and hitting it.
We'll see. I mean, I think the drawn out strokes for him now is that he thinks we're going to go to 444 and back to 84.
But he doesn't have a time frame on that, right?
I mean, I think it's sort of like,
well, is that in 2025?
At the end of the run, towards the end, or maybe even the beginning.
But how do you define the end of the run? Like, he didn't give a time frame.
But I don't think
all the other ones he had a time frame.
The bigger lesson there is he's looking. The thing to draw from it is he's looking at an 80% drop down
after the fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that, and that's nothing saying anything new or it hasn't happened before, but I think it's interesting to note that.
And it's not, and there could be a 50% drawdown on the way to 444.
Right. So we'll see. I think the summer will.
Argentina's president cleared.
Oh, well,
promoting meme coin.
Well, I'm glad. Who cleared him?
Yeah, he cleared himself. Did he pardon himself?
Right. Okay, I think we can go through that.
He hasn't been cleared by Bitcoiners.
That's true.
Russia launches Bitcoin-backed bonds. I heard about that.
I didn't hear too much about that.
Front-running America.
So how far down the rabbit hole is Russia in terms of letting the world know what they're doing? I mean, like, do they have
Dude, Russia invented Bitcoin. What are you talking about?
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's say maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But like, it sounds like everyone thinks they're mining.
I think they're mining. I think they've announced some trade for oil with Bitcoin too at one point. Or they said they would accept it.
I mean, are they mining?
Russia launches Bitcoin-backed bonds.
Or I mean, that's like,
who cares? That's rad.
Sure, but I mean, do they have 100,000 coins?
I mean, it's kind of like showing, like, here we have like everybody in America talking about it, and then you have the Michael Saylor of countries who's like, do it.
I think there's
do it.
I think there's one vision I have where we don't buy Bitcoin until the G8 comes together and announces how much Bitcoin they have.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
and it's a multilateral
I don't think we buy Bitcoin until we have stablecoin legislation.
Sure, right. And then I think after that, there's a multilateral agreement rolled out. And, they come out and they say, oh, America has 600,000 Bitcoin and France has 42,000. And, this is now the update.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't agree with that. I think we get stablecoin legislation. We get Bo saying, here's how we're going to do it. And now let's run the program. Drive Bitcoin up.
Oh, well, here's a question.
Treasuries,
okay, fine. If
buy bills,
has 200,000 Bitcoin.
Wait, new topic.
How much Bitcoin is America going to get to in your best case scenario?
Stop moving the lights, Cedric.
Okay.
You're all good.
Sorry.
Fed's not cutting rates. This is my favorite topic right now.
Fed's not cutting rates.
This goes back to my Trump discussion. is the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve, like, what kind of conversations are happening there? Because Trump wants rates down.
Yes.
The Treasury needs rates down. The debt bubble needs rates down. We've got like 4 weeks left to
What if
July
they
9th.
What if they don't need rates down so that things break and things get worse and people beg
So
for
you
rates to
think?
come
So
down?
you think it could
Like,
be a false
because
conversation?
when rates come down,
Yeah.
like things could rip. Like you get your
Yeah.
you get your $11.99 eggs.
Right.
And people are not going to go to there like freely. Like they have to be like, what? Yes, please lower the rates. Like no one could buy a home. Please lower the rates.
Right.
They have to beg. And I think that like this is where like everyone's expecting the big print to come sooner than later. And I think it comes later than sooner because they're going to let it break.
There's two ways to look at this, right? You either have the Trump administration worried about midterms and wanting a good economy and wanting lower rates and wanting to refinance to say they're making an impact on this debt bubble. So they need lower rates. So that's one thing back here. And then the other side of my brain's going, maybe they want to engineer a crash. Maybe they want to engineer a panic. Maybe
Right.
we get riots. Maybe we get
Summer of
the
chaos.
4th of July bio-terrorist activity. And you get this chaotic moment and then rates collapse. But both of those things can't be true because that would mean like stuff's got to hit the fan like right now.
I think it's starting to.
Maybe
I think
it starts June
we're
14th, right?
yeah.
Maybe
I think
it
it's like a
starts on
summer
King's
of
Day.
chaos.
Maybe.
And you know, Bitcoin's ripping, but like
So the Trump Elon spat,
that's a distraction.
it's a distraction.
It's,
And then we get some sort of panic.
it's a
here,
lot
like,
of distractions because they can't roll over the debt and they can't lower the rates.
I mean,
yet.
if you had riots, if you had the King's Day riots, and then you had the 4th of July bio-terrorist attack,
right,
then yeah,
let that cook for
then
like
you could
3-4
be like,
months.
then you could be like, okay, rates are going to zero again.
Right, but you have to have 3-4 months of like that after
Really?
it happens.
Because
of like
I don't think
of
so.
malaise.
I don't think not that. When I read that bio-terrorist attack paper, I was like, or simulation. These would be instant deaths. These wouldn't be like, oh, we're getting the flu and it's growing. This would be like, okay, we were attacked, 280,000 people died, 400,000 people are infected. Now 800,000 people are infected, and panic, lock, go. Like scary stuff.
Yeah, and okay, so they're like the rates don't necessarily come down. They just print money to go to war and like spend on the military and like get money out.
Well, they'd be,
but like
we like
doesn't mean rates come down.
Might be locking down again.
Right.
So stimmy checks again.
Right. So everything but rates coming down, maybe. And then things get worse and worse.
Well,
yeah, I don't know
rates.
how it goes.
I mean, this would be cover for the Fed.
This seems to be what the
Sailor Orange Pill. Yeah, I saw it. Did you watch it? I didn't watch the behind the paywall version. I watched the front stuff. I mean, Sailor is good.
I heard he revealed a little bit more personal details than he has before, and
yeah, a little bit more about like how he got to where he was. I guess. I mean, I think I've heard a lot of those and bits and pieces of others. Right. I've watched so much. Sailor
and then I've
content.
heard, some people felt Jordan Peterson was interrupting too much, but some people felt that was like a good way to kind of get out maybe the whys more than the what from Sailor. Like not what you did, but why you did it.
I thought Jordan was a little bit. Maybe he was tougher behind the scenes. I thought he was going to like dig into like did your dad beat you?
Oh, right.
How did your mom screw you up?
Right. None of that though.
None of that.
Right.
So maybe after the paywall, which I didn't watch. So.
Right.
I don't know.
It seemed like he talked a lot about a little bit about how he wanted to kind of become like this was a little bit about a competition with Zuckerberg or other people. I think.
Yeah. He definitely has the like. I want to be the richest man in the world again.
Right.
I think that's driving Sailor in a big way.
And so some people said, maybe he's willing to say that right now because he knows he's got a lot of confidence that MicroStrategy share is gonna, rip and not financial advice, not rip today, but like do very well over the coming months.
Right. This is Jamie Dimon, expect a crack in the bond market again.
Whoa. Okay.
If the Fed doesn't do anything. and we refinance this debt at 4.9,
But
4.8.
I think they're preparing you
5%.
for a bust up. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're preparing you for the rates going down yet. I think they're preparing you for, like, you're gonna have to beg for the rates to go down. Like, things are gonna get bad. The crack is gonna be a
Right.
huge wedge
Well, I mean,
coming
it's so
through.
so
and-
if we go to if during the refinancing of all this debt, the bond vigilantes drive rates up, like past 5.25, past 5.5. That's going to cause all sorts of havoc for the real economy,
yeah,
and then we'll be in a recession.
and then you get rates going.
So
down
we'd be in a
again.
recession this summer, right? And so then you get this recession, and then maybe we slide into recession, and then we get all the chaos, which creates the incentive to print. So maybe we go to 125, down 50%, and then to 444
Yeah, it's possible.
by the end of the year. I
Yeah,
don't know.
84 might become before 444.
I don't know, but I mean, that's news for him. But
why
I mean,
Bitcoin price isn't higher despite huge adoption. Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's got to be paper Bitcoin going around, and I think all the cash settled futures, they're coming for you.
get him, Murray.
So I don't know. I think it's a fair question.
I think it's.
I also think all the OGs are selling. I think they were waiting for.
But
100K.
I think a lot of the adoption is being driven through strategic buying, meaning the selling of puts. So they're like putting weight on the market to
right.
accumulate at lower prices.
That's interesting.
And so that will squeeze volatility until there's no more volatility, and then you get the pop. Right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So if there's volatility there to be had, they're going to take it. And Bitcoin's going to bounce around and not run. But on all those, that can happen for a period of time until it gets so squeezed, and once it pops out, it rips again.
Yeah, like
so you can get these kind of long periods of like boredom, and then very short, sharp runs.
Sure.
So
yeah, but usually during there's
upcoming
been so
Bitcoin
much
Day
good
in
news.
Tampa. Yeah, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
there.
well, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Yeah.
What a
Good topic.
coincidence.
We'll see you there.
That'd
Come
be
by.
great. I think we're almost out of time there, but we will see you in Tampa. This has been Bitcoin Center. My name is Cedric Yeoman. This is
Paul
the
Tarantino.
CEO of Byte Federal, Paul Tarantino. Thank you for joining us, as always. See you next week.
Peace.